maybe until an hour ago. Boom, irrigation levels went through the roof. Almost like something triggered it.
Thanks, Tim. You know, I can take it from here and get some rest.
No way. Sleeper, no sleeping. I never seen this. Titanus booster, as we like to call her.
What's up, all my kaiju friends and fans? Phil, the Kaiju King, back, my collection room in Greater Cincinnati. We're going to take a look at this pretty cool figure here. Spiral Studios, Mothra, Larva, Benevolent form. Here's the box. She's packed in there really well. There's a foam casing in there. She's in a plastic paper. She's wrapped in paper. Foam insert on top, covering the whole top of the box inside. She's protected really well. Good packing by Spiral, I think. I would applaud them on that for sure. This is the box. Nice artwork on it. Pretty cool. Big box because she's pretty big. All right, we'll move on to the star of the show. The Mothra Larva Benevolent Form by Spiral Studio. All right, and here she is. The 30 centimeter-ish scale Mothra Larva Benevolent Form from Spiral Studios. Mothra 2019, of course, from the crazy awesome movie Godzilla King of the Monsters. As I said, the scale, I think it is actually, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but I think it scales gigantic-wise with the Gigantics, because I put it with my Spiral Gigantic Burning Godzilla, and remember, this version of Mothra is quite a bit smaller than the final form flying Mothra. They say in the movie, oh, this is the small version. It's going to get much bigger and meaner, or whatever that guy says in the film. So she isn't. To me, she is in scale with the Gigantic, I think, in my eyes, because my mind's eye is this version of Mothra is smaller than the final form Mothra in the movie. They even say that. They said something much more bigger, much more meaner is going to come out, and which isn't the case. But I think this is the true meaning and form of Mothra. They also reissued this figure in a aggressive form, which is where instead of the blue tones, it is red tones, darker tones overall, I think. And it does, I believe, light up. I'm not sure, but I think it does. This one does not light up. But I think this is the true essence of Mothra's being, and overall is to be benevolent, but she can be forced to be aggressive, of course. I got lucky. I think I got one of the last ones at Kaiju Live. I want to thank AJ Russo and Kaiju Live for this. This is where I got it from. And it's like, I want to say like $4.50, but I always do on PayPal. It's called Pay in 4. And it divides the total by 4 and takes it out bi-weekly of your account. So it makes it to where it's a lot more manageable and easier to make the payments on bigger items like this. I've been doing it on a lot of stuff, actually. I would highly recommend that Pay in 4. There's no interest charges, no nothing. As long as you meet the Pay in 4 process, which is basically over 2 months, 4 payments bi-weekly. Takes the amount total, divides it by 4. That's what I did on the King Ghidorah 2019, which was a pretty expensive figure. I've done it on several things lately here that I'm doing Pay in 4s on every week, but it ain't big amounts, it's smaller amounts. I don't mean to rant about that, but I just think it's a cool way to pay for figures. And they pay for it right away, all of it, PayPal, and then they go ahead and forward you the figure. You just have to make sure you make those payments. Like I said, this is a pretty cool figure. It's pretty neat. It's really big. I mean, look at it. It's a pretty beefy figure. But it's, of course, Mothra 2019. This is my favorite Mothra. I think they nailed in that movie of the 3 new kaiju. I just feel like this is the true essence of how Mothra should be from the beginning. She just really, it looks neat. She looks cool in it. She can be vicious in it. She really is a pretty badass looking Mothra, I think, my opinion. I really love this form of Mothra. I'm hoping that the 25 centimeter comes along sooner than later to go with the X Plus set. But this is really neat. I love it a lot. Love the film, of course. The MonsterVerse and the Showa are my favorite eras of the Godzilla genre at this point. That's predominantly where my collection lands at. She's pretty cool though. I like her pose. She's upright and kind of turning toward her left a little, like she's turning to look at something. She's done. I think it's captured pretty nicely. Big bulky figure, like I said. I mean, like I said previous, I think it really scales. If you think about this Mothra, this version is not as big. And I took pictures of it with my gigantic 19s, and I feel like this should really be scaling with the gigantic line. Maybe, I don't know that, but I just feel like she fits in there well because the ultimate version of this kaiju is much bigger than this. That's my thinking on that. You can see the blue tones all over the body here, down here on the back side of her. It's predominantly a darker brown on the back, on this hard shell type area, all up and down her back with the blue paint scheme. This thing is translucent vinyl. It does not light up though, but it is a translucent vinyl. And I'll try to shine my light on my phone through her. You can probably see it. And it does make her light up a bit in there. So I think you could take a light and maybe bore a hole in the bottom of her and put some lights in her, make her look real neat. But I think she's fine the way it is. But it is a translucent vinyl figure, and it does shine through rather well. You can see the light penetrating through. That's kind of cool. But her sculpting, I think, is pretty neat. You don't really see this form of Mothra, but a couple minutes in the movie, and it's in a darkened cave area, so it's hard to see all of her details. But from what I can gather, they did a pretty good job on this figure, in my opinion. Nice sculpting of her, like scaly back, as you can see the layers, the sculpted layers of her back sections. It's kind of like armor plating, almost looks like. I'm sure that's for defense. But all that's the darker brown with the blue highlights, tones of the benevolent form of her form here. The underneath of her little peg legs here, that's much of a more lighter brown in tone. And it gets up to her actual arms here and her claws. She got nice sharp claws on each arm here. Pretty pointy and sharp actually. And tips of those are all black. The rest of it, like I said, the lighter brown in color. She looks really good. I think they captured the way her skin tone is. If you look in the movie, when you don't get to see a lot of her like this, like I said, but they captured the texturing of her tone of her shell and all this, I thought, really well. Got some nice blue tones in her chest area here. Of course, her eyes are the blue color, of course, because she's in the benevolent form. And she captured her face really well, I thought. I think the aggressive one is the same exact pose. If it was me, I would have had her mandibles here out. Because when she goes in aggressive mode, she's like really aggressive, and these mandible claws in her mouth are out, spread out. And I feel like that's what they should have done on that aggressive one. That would have been kind of cool. Would have made it more double dip possibilities for people. But as far as I know, they look to be the same sculpt. If they're not, someone let me know. It's pretty cool. Like I said, the eyes are the blue. You got your mouth area captured really well. I think they did a good job overall on this figure. My opinion, like I've said, I'm going to say it again, I think she scales well with the actual gigantics. All right, we'll do a couple comparisons with some 30 centimeter figures so you can see just how massive and bulky this figure really is. Let's do that now. All right, here's my Spiral Studios Mothra 2019 Larva Benevolent form, alongside two 30 centimeter X Plus figures, my original Godzilla 1954 30 centimeter, and my Godzilla 1975. You can see she's much more bulkier and bigger than either of these Godzillas. Really, really cool. Really, really neat looking Mothra there. All right, I'll do one more set of comparisons. Let's do that now. All right, everyone, back. Here's my 25 centimeter X Plus Godzilla 2019 from that movie, and my 30 centimeter Godzilla 1962. He's a pretty big, bulky 30 centimeter figure, and she really dwarfs the 25 in every way, and she really dwarfs the 30 centimeter figure. I think if she was a true 30 centimeter, she would be shorter than the 2014 Godzilla by about 2 to 3 inches. Because I think, like I said, this Mothra isn't supposed to be, this isn't her final form. All right, move on to some final thoughts, and let's do that now. All right, everyone, Spiral Studios, Mothra, Larva, Benevolent form. I guess she's kind of a hybrid scale, but in my opinion, she's almost a scale with the gigantic Godzilla 19s. I feel like this, it just looks to me, for some reason, it looks right with them, because it just, she's not nearly as big as those Godzillas, but she's much bigger when she becomes her final form in the movie. So I don't know why in my mind, if I'm crazy, people let me know, but I feel like this is the nice scaling with our big boys. Nothing wrong with that, though. It's a pretty neat figure. I think they captured just nice sculpting textures of her textures on her body and stuff. She has some pudginess and wrinkles, of course, here in her front legs and stuff. But like I said, I wish we would have seen more of this form in the movie and in more of a daylight setting. But I thought they did a pretty good job overall. Thank you, Spiral Studios, and thank you, Kaiju Live and AJ Russo. All right, everyone, I'll close out my video. I want to thank everyone that always tunes in. This is Phil, the Kaiju King, from my collection room here in Greater Cincinnati. Y'all have a blessed day. We'll talk again soon.